That's a digital agency here in Brooklyn. We're a sister company to PTEX Group. They have a booth outside. They do branding. They do digital branding as well. We are a full-service web development agency, so soup to nuts, we got you covered. Just to explain what I do, user experience strategist. I think the simplest way to explain it is I work with customers and users to make sure that we're building the right thing, and then work with designers, developers, copywriters, content creators to make sure that we're building the thing right. So our company is very proud of the strategic approach we take to web development, big focus on user experience, helping a lot of companies that are just breaking into digital to make sure that they get up and running the right way. Now, without further ado, we'll let our panelists introduce themselves. I'll start with Ali.
Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Calvo. I work at a custom frame shop. We basically make everything custom from start to finish. What I specifically do is the SEO and not so much the UX, but the easy use of finding the product on the website, being able to find that easily and make it easy for the customer to find what they want.
My name is Dan Dashevsky. I'm the owner of Crown Drugs, a premier full-service pharmacy in Brooklyn. I'm also a co-founder and chief operating officer at MyCloud Grocer, a technology company. MyCloud Grocer, also known as MCG, provides an award-winning, comprehensive, end-to-end e-grocery solutions.
Excuse me, there's a lot of this.
I'll try to do it a little higher volume, I guess. So MyCloud Grocer MCG provides comprehensive, award-winning e-grocery solutions for supermarket, starting from online grocery shopping to in-store order fulfillment, logistics, and delivery. Since founding MyCloud Grocer over 5 years ago and receiving the Creative Business Award from CHYE, I believe it was 2012, my partner and I led our company to be awarded top 10 retail cloud solution providers of 2017, just last year, by Retail CEO Outlook magazine. And also a recent Brickmits Click study had revealed that our clients, the supermarkets who use our platform, enjoy the highest online basket sizes reported in the industry. And as a matter of fact, it's by 51% larger basket sizes than the industry average. I am glad to be here today, and I'm glad for the opportunity that I have to share my knowledge and expertise with you.
Hey guys, my name is Eli Bloomstein. First of all, thank you to Shalom and the organizer of this event for inviting me here tonight. I am a co-founder of menswear startup Twillory.com. We are a direct-to-consumer menswear brand. Our core philosophies are value, experience, and innovation. Tag it, please. We're about 3.5 years old. Things are going pretty well. How did I get my start? Actually, when I left yeshiva, I was in Kirov, in Manhattan, and they taught me very well in yeshiva how to give a good shiur, how to give a good class, but they didn't teach me how to get people to the class. So I had to learn a little bit of marketing. And I figured if I could get people to listen to shiurim, I could definitely sell shirts to people. So that's pretty much my story, and the rest is history. I hope to share more about what I do throughout the course of the night.
Okay, so we'll start with you, Eli. There's been a lot of talk about brand building and how important it is in order to establish your web destination. Twillory obviously has been quite successful at that. So if you could walk us through the importance of brand building and how do you go building a brand that's memorable as well as brand loyalty.
Okay, so I'll try to remember all the parts of the question. I'll start with the last question first, which is how do you build brand loyalty? So it's a big debate as to whether millennials are more or less brand loyal. But one thing I can tell you for sure, millennials are very aware and they're very supportive. And if you do manage to build a brand and you get the the younger generation on board, you will get a lot of support through social media and referring friends and word of mouth and so on and so forth. In terms of building a brand in general, so I think the most important thing I can share is know your value, know your story, and know your differentiator. You have to be able to get an elevator ride with somebody and in 30 seconds or less tell them why I should shop at your brand. I mentioned before, I can speak just from experience. We at Twillory, we focus very much on value, which is two things. It's price, and it's also within the quality and what you give. Experience, we focus very much on giving the customer an amazing experience through customer service, through the web experience, through the packaging. We view the packaging as a storefront. Remember, we're only online, and the only way to buy our product is through our destination, our domain name, Twillory. So we want to make that experience amazing. And thirdly, through innovation. And that's by, you wonder, like, it's a dress shirt, right? It's a button-down shirt. How can you make it better? So we're always tweaking. We're always doing things different. We're always doing things that stand out. And that's pretty, that's what it is for us. But then again, at the end of the day, it comes down to, once you have your brand and you have your story and you have your logo and you have your product, it's being able to say to people, this is why you should shop by me, and I have what nobody else has to offer. And if you can tell that story and get that story out there, and it's something that you should be telling at every touch point, every interaction with your brand, then that's how you start off building a brand. Did that answer your question? Is that any more specific details?
Yeah, that's it. Again, we'll open it up at the end to questions, so write down any questions you have for the panelists. Dan, given the large amount of stores using the platform as well as your own e-commerce site, which UX factors are you seeing as having the biggest impact on conversions? And if you could also speak to site speed is definitely one of the biggest factors impacting conversions. My Cloud Grocer is famous for having less than 2-second page load times. So if you could speak to how to optimize speed as well. Thank you.
I cannot agree more with regards to the site speed, and I'm great that the presenter of the previous session, Menachem Rubin, mentioned also about the importance of the site speed and effect on the conversion rate and the retention rate. So browsing speed is one of the most important attributes of your UX experience and of your site experience, especially when it comes to groceries. My expertise, there's a lot of products browsing, or anything else you sell that has a lot of items, it even becomes more important. But even if you sell shirts or picture frames, as the internet evolves and the standards, like Menachem said earlier, also evolved, and the expectation of the customer to the speed evolves as well. So speed is very important. Now, and website visitors tend to care more about the speed than the bells and whistles we are tempted to add to our websites. Google actually did a very interesting study a few years ago. They did a survey asking survey participants if they would rather see 10 or 30 search results per page. So the consensus was that 30 results per page sound like a good idea, right? So they then implemented that on some of their search results, and the astounding results came after they realized that the traffic to the pages displaying 30 results had dropped by as much as 20%, which is a very big number. So then they did the testing, and they checked the speed difference between displaying 10 results at a time and 30 search results at a time. And the difference was only half a second. So the conclusion of the study was that this half a second, fraction of a second difference in page loading speed really affects your conversion rate and your user retention rate. Also, in the later years, as technology evolves, your page loading speed also has a big effect on your search engine optimization, something that some other experts here will be talking about. In terms of other user experience, it's also very important to keep your site clean, easy to use. Again, we may want to add another survey there, another step at the checkout. As Menachem said earlier, I cannot agree more. Keep it simple, keep it easy, keep it fast. Let people check out. You want to send a survey? Do it later. Don't do it in the checkout process.
One follow-up question. So if you could walk us through, how do you go about figuring out the UX obstacles your site has, how to increase conversions, what type of user testing you do, what do you find to be the most efficient way to do testing, and how much should you invest in it?
Well, the conversion is more marketing expertise than a technology. In terms of getting the testing, like a A/B testing, which marketing results work or not. I do have some understanding in marketing, but that's not really my expertise. However, from the practical results and on the page loading speed, obviously your technology has to support it. And again, Menachem explained before how Magenta is slower than a Shopify, maybe some other platforms. Obviously, if you're doing it yourself, and in some businesses, like for the frames, selling frames online, they had to build a custom solution. For some businesses, you have to create a custom solution because some of the options that you need your business require to sell your products do not exist, not in Shopify, not in Magenta. And once you start modifying, it's going to cost you more, and you end up at the end rebuilding your website as opposed to doing it. Oh, sure. But on the practical level, what you can do when you have a website already built, you're not programmers. I'm not a programmer either. I hire programmers. But what you can do as a user of that website, you can make sure that when you upload those images, make sure they optimize for the web. Because the difference on the page load between a 200 kilobyte image and a 50 kilobyte image is 4 times. Right? Especially when more and more people are shopping on a mobile website. I can tell you from my experience, 5 years ago, only about 15% shopped for groceries on their mobile devices. Those customers that, at least from the clients who use our platform. Now that number is almost 50% and it's growing. So more and more people are using apps, using mobile devices, and when we're using phones, you understand that the speed is even slower because you have Wi-Fi, you have cellular connections that are not always full bars. So make sure that your pictures are optimized, you have less elements. And we can talk later about mobile devices. I just don't want to take all the time today.
I'm just going to follow up on some of that he said there. Mobile speed is not just... your speed on your website is not just a user experience thing that needs to be looked at. Google and Microsoft both together, roughly in 2010, slowed their speed by 0.1 second on their website, on their search results to the customers, and they wanted to see what that would do to the response of the customers. And they had I don't remember the number. It was somewhere a 6 or 7% drop in searches, total searches that happened, and that was just over a 0.1% speed, 0.1% second speed drop. So that's a tremendous indicator of what speed does for you. Another line in speed. Speed is a tremendous factor when it comes to SEO. It's not just user experience. When you create a website, you want people to come to your website. Google wants to send you traffic, but the only reason why Google will send you traffic is if Google sees that there's a return on investment. They're not going to send a customer to you if the customer goes to your website and bounces back to Google, Google knows that you weren't the right destination for that search result. So then the customer is now going to go to another website and find what they want. Google's going to say that was the right website. So when you look at speed, if your speed is slow, you're also slowing down. The customer doesn't want to stay on your website. It's too slow. It's not working. You can blame it on a bunch of things, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure that your website is not just fast for cable. It's not just fast for DSL. It has to be fast for 3G mobile speeds. We're all on 4G. We're all looking at 5G speeds coming down in a year or two. Google's still looking at your website at 3G speeds. So when you go to your website, Google will actually test your website at 3G speeds, and it can show it to you. So that's very important. Another thing about speed, which is very important when it comes to SEO, it's not just from a UX factor. Speed from an SEO perspective is something that's very important. Recently, we just upgraded our website from to a much faster platform. But we had a mistake, and that mistake costed us just a few milliseconds. That mistake on our SEO was tremendous. Within a week, we saw that our rankings were dropping by 3 to 4. From being number 1 on a lot of pages on our search, we went down to 3, 4, and 5, and that was just attributed specifically to our speed of our website. When we changed that, when we fixed that, our speed came back, and our pages came back within 2 or 3 days. So speed is not just a UX factor; it's a factor towards everything that you need for your website to run and have customers be attracted to your page.
Okay. So Dan, we'll keep it with you. As the panel SEO expert, so what are some of the latest developments in SEO that you find are having the biggest impact as far as driving traffic to site?
SEO is your thing.
Sorry, it's okay. Speed is obviously, I just said, a very big indicator. Another indicator is mobile. Mobile is very, very important. Google just announced mobile first. And basically what mobile first means is that your page has to be comfortable for a user to use from a UX experience on a mobile site. If Google wants everything to be mobile first, why? Mobile first, mobile is where people are coming to your website from. Amazon says that it's now 54% of customers are coming from mobile. Not only that, most people aren't even going back to their desktop. They're purchasing directly on mobile. So that is something that's very important. That just Google announced mobile first a while ago. They're officially starting to implement that. I think they already started. If not, it's very shortly. So when you create your website, you have to ensure that mobile is very, very optimized. You want to make sure that the customer comes to your page, they know what to do, they know what to do, how to check out, where's the checkout bar. It's all very important that your website is mobile friendly. Not being mobile friendly will really hurt your page.
We'll go back to you, Ellie. And so we got past driving traffic to the site, increasing traffic. Obviously, we spent the money on the customer acquisition. So what list building and lead capture techniques is Twillory finding effective? And as a second question to that, how do you maximize customer lifetime value through repeat purchases?
Okay, so obviously there's a long answer, but I'll go with the ADD answer because I like that. So we look at marketing as a big funnel. All the people in the world are outside the funnel, And as you finally get somebody to click on one of your ads, or somehow manage to get them to your website, they're at the top of the funnel, and your goal is over some period of time to get them to the bottom of the funnel and then convert. There are obviously many different ways to do all this. Let's keep it digital. Digitally, you have, all the way at the top of the funnel, you have all the SEO. For Twillory, we're a new brand. Most of our customers haven't heard of Twillory until they saw us somewhere and then decided to try us out. It's not like, oh, I need shirts, let me, I heard about these guys. Nobody heard about us, they have to stumble across us online. So either through SEO or for us, it's more Facebook and Instagram marketing, which we get people to, we drive brand awareness. And most people are not going to convert the first time they come to the website, but at least they're in the funnel. And the goal is through retargeting and through re-engagement to get them all the way to the bottom and finally make them a customer. There are obviously so many crucial steps that need to be taken throughout this process. And like my colleagues over here are saying, every small detail of optimization can make, a small percentage of a difference, but when you have large numbers come to your site, it can mean everything. Some of the important things are, again, the big expense is acquiring that customer, getting them into the funnel. That's the big expense. You have all the people in the world, you want to get them into your company's funnel. That's where you're going to spend the most money. Once they're already in there, it's pennies on the dollar to get them to convert. So that's where your low-hanging fruit are, and that's where you really have to focus. There are many different tactics. You have to get their email address, right? Once you have somebody's email address, it's so much easier to get them to convert. How do you get email addresses? So you have pop-ups right when they come to the website. Those pop-ups can be done in so many different ways, and each one can make a world of a difference. I can give you just personal examples. Like at the beginning we started the business, we're like, dude, we're just going to give this awesome discount. People come in and they see Twillory.com, you can get, let's say, 50% off. Like, who wouldn't put their email address at 50% off? And it worked, and we're like, okay, it's pretty cool. But after doing more research, we found that actually getting people to engage in that pop-up would actually convert more people, which means you'll actually get more email addresses. What does that mean? It means you put a screen in front of that pop-up, which is like, you ask them a question, be like, hey, do you like shirts? And then you give them like two options. Option number one is, yeah, I love shirts. And number two is, I hate shirts, right? And they can click one or the other. And they click, yeah, I like shirts, right? And then you give them, okay, so now that you like shirts, let me give you a deal. And if you got that person to interact with that pop-up, there's a much higher chance of getting their email address. And then, you have to have an entire drip campaign until you get them to convert. So there's the welcome email, and then there's the first purchase email, and the second purchase email, and then they haven't purchased in 3 months, so you hit them again. Or they enter their email address, and 6 months later you see they still haven't purchased. So then there's a whole other strategy. What works for us is we have handwritten. You think like well-designed emails are super effective, and they are. But in this case, what we found is actually is most effective is like a note from Ellie at Twillory.com saying, hey, we've seen you around for a long time, but we haven't actually got our shirts in your closet. What can we do to make that happen? And that actually 6 months later will get a customer to convert, but he was already sitting there. You have to get him. You spent money on him. So that's just getting started. What else we got?
We have like 10-15 minutes left, and we really want to get to the audience questions. So hopefully discussion so far sparked some questions on your end. So if anybody has a question.
I'll go. Hey, guys. I'm a manufacturer of products. Our main customers are brick and mortar, old school type of retailers. Anything that we sell online is predominantly through Amazon. How do you make the call to say, okay, it makes sense for our product, our brand, to have a dedicated e-tail site as opposed to just selling that way. Because there are tons and tons of consumer products. There's no Colgate.com when you buy toothpaste, right? Not every consumer product has its own dedicated site. So how do you make that call?
I can't tell you how you can make that call, maybe somebody else can. But I can definitely tell you that being on Amazon is a tremendous boon to your own website if you have one. And if you don't have one, get one quickly, especially if you are a brand. The reason we found is as soon as we started selling our products on Amazon, we had a tremendous boost of people looking on Google for our brand name itself. People were going to Amazon, they were finding artoframes.com, they found a frame that they liked or didn't like, they wanted something similar, they started searching for our brand name. Just by having our product on Amazon brought more people to our website. So if you have a brand and you don't have a website, you're losing all that traffic. If somebody's looking for you specifically because you're on Amazon, don't let them go somewhere else. They didn't find what they wanted specifically on Amazon. You might have that on your own website. It's possible that you don't. It's possible that you have it on Amazon, but it just got lost in the mix of the other billion products that are already on the platform. So creating your own website, if you have a brand, I believe is a tremendous boon to your business.
I can just add a couple of things. Again, like my colleague here said, that it's going to be your business decision. You have to see the return on investment. But just to give you some guidelines and some example, I have a friend, Jack Silverstein, Jack's Gourmet. Some of you know their meat products. He was my client on the advertising side. So he has a website. I believe it's a Shopify website. We did not build it for them. And I asked him, why does he have a website? Because it's kind of competing with his wholesale business, because he's selling it to gourmet glads, to marketplaces, to Bradbury's. So why is he having his online website? And most of those stores are online, whether through us or through our competitors. So he says, I have some people, let's say in Minnesota or somewhere in Yehupitzville, that they don't have access to online shops or to my products, so once in a while I ship it to them. So that's number one reason. If you have clients like that they don't have access to your products, or Amazon, which is kind of hard to believe, but like you said, it could be hard to find your products on Amazon once they reach your website. So that would be one of the factors that you may want to consider.
Sure. So I myself am researching the multi-channel sales space. I'll just give the flip side of what you presented, and why I'm a little bit torn. Right now we sell strictly on our website, Twillory.com, and people are always approaching us, you gotta go on Amazon. For us, we view men's dress shirts as a commodity, which basically means men need them all the time, they always need more, and they buy them in bulk. The value of owning your customer is something that you can only get by having your own domain name, Twillory.com. So once, like we spoke before, you acquire the customer, we now own him. So why do I want to send him now to Amazon to make more purchases? I taught him about the brand, and now he's going to be able to go buy it on Amazon. I spent all this money to teach him that the place to get the best non-iron shirts are at Twillory.com, and now he can go to Amazon and buy them. As opposed to, this guy now knows, I have 10 Twillory shirts this year, I have another 10 next year, I have another 10 the year after, and his one destination to get it is through us, and that's obviously super valuable. As well as one other note, and I know the previous session was talking about VCs, there's a tremendous value in building a brand, knowing that you have X amount of conversions, X amount of traffic, X amount of repeat orders from your brand. That's where the value in what you're building is. So the flip side of Amazon versus sticking to your website.
Any other questions?
Follow up with you, Ellie. What is holding you back from going to department stores?
Retail is dead, man. Yeah, I mean, we've had the opportunity a few times. Everybody's running away from retail. When you have your own website, your own brand, you don't have to deal with staff. You don't have to deal with locations. You don't have to deal with all the things, all the expenses really that come up with retail, and that's why the internet businesses are so hot today. Is because you can cut out the middlemen and all the in-between costs that it costs to get a product to retail, and that's how you give value to your customer. If you really save that and pass that value on to a customer, then they can't get that anywhere else. The only place they can get that is on your website, if you're really authentic about the value that you're passing on. Does that help?
I'll quickly follow up on that. Retail, you put your product on Amazon or your own website, it's there and it's not bothering anybody. You sell your product and you put your product into retail, they will discount it if it doesn't sell after 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, and eventually they'll send it back to you. So you'll be stuck with inventory that you thought you got rid of, you thought you sold, that now is back in your hand and you have to deal with that. So retail is not as lovely as it sounds.
Ouch.
What's more important, design or speed? And also, when you say speed, on Shopify, most people about Shopify, is there any apps out there that actually would be able to increase the speed? And is it worth this paid actually money for speed?
Our company is considered experts on speed, but not with the Shopify. Shopify is something, it's a hosted solution. I believe, I don't know if you have option to host it yourself. No. Is your platform using Shopify? Or?
We are now on Shopify, I'm proud to say. Lauren.
So maybe you can speak about the Shopify. Yeah. Because if it's your own website, you can definitely, if you can play with the code, which is very technical and you really have to have professionals. I mean, our company has literally PhD in mathematics and computer science working on tweaking every millisecond. Most of the people don't have technology background or access to such high quality people, but what you can do, you can just pay a little bit more for hosting and it's going to be a little quicker. But again, Shopify, I'll let somebody who knows Shopify speak. Design, well, if you see that the design decreasing speed, keep it simple. Don't. Speed, definitely speed. Speed is a convenience. Everyone wants it quick. Everybody has ADD these days. I own a pharmacy. I can tell you how many people take ADD medication.
Talk after. I'm not sure that.
I'll just answer. I can't answer towards Shopify, but for those who aren't on Shopify, Shopify is a hosted platform which they sell themselves as being speedy. They are from the speedier platforms out there online. But if you're not on Shopify, if you're on a hosted platform, if you're on something that's not hosted, you're on your own platform, you have some way that you can host your platform. Being on a cloud-based server as opposed to being on your own dedicated server will make a tremendous difference. Your own dedicated server will give you a tremendous speed boost. You don't have all the other websites that are occupying I/O time, which is basically the speed of your hard drive spinning back and forth, that have to relay information to the web. So being on your own dedicated platform will tremendously increase that speed.
Just remember some things also. Even if you have your dedicated servers, which is, we actually have, not our own, but we have a hosting company with dedicated servers and multiple servers with a load balance and everything. But what you can do, we just did it recently, we started to host our images on AWS. It's very cheap. You host your images there, they load much faster. So if you use just cloud for hosting images, it will help you with the speed.
We have time for one more question, if anyone has one.
Can we spend a little bit more time on Shopify? It looks like it's more promising than building your own site from scratch. What's the best way to approach it and to get it set up and
I'll give you my business card. Specific question. Ellie, maybe you could talk about why your company switched to Shopify recently.
Why do we switch to Shopify? We launched the company and we thought it'd be really cool to have a custom-made website, so we can tell all our friends that we built our own website, and we did it. And we've had many problems. We were on WooCommerce, and as we grew, we just kind of grew out of it. So we moved to Shopify Plus. It's a lot better. It still has its challenges, but like I know a bunch of you guys studied the apps and stuff, so there's definitely a lot more, and it's pretty easy. You'll always need developer help and all that kind of stuff, but it's definitely easier to maintain, and we're finding a lot less problems. The Shopify checkout is incredible, and so far we're very happy there. Is there any specific questions about Shopify that I can answer?
Okay, thanks for coming. Thank you, Rabbi Werdy, for arranging all this. And everyone is invited to go to the exhibition booths, which are open now.
Yeah.
And most of all, thank you, our panelists. Great job.